Christine here. Today I'm going to show you how to crochet the first part of the Arcana Throw. So what you're going to need is you're going to need your 6.5mm hook, and like gauge isn't super important because it is a blanket, so just get your 6.5mm hook. And I am using Yarn Bee Soft and Sleek for this project because it's just a wonderful yarn and it is super soft and beautiful. You can use any worsted weight yarn though. So for the center part of this project, I used 2 colors. For the center part, you're gonna need, I used 3 balls of this, so about like 600 to 650 yards for the center, and for like the tassels, so 3 full balls of this. And we will get started. Okay, so what you're gonna do is you're gonna create a slip knot, and then you're gonna chain 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then you're gonna join with a slip stitch to the first chain to create a ring. Okay, so now you got your little ring that you're gonna work into. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna chain 1 to raise it up a little bit, and then we're gonna do a bean stitch inside here. I call them bean stitches. I don't know if that's the proper term for them, but I call them bean stitches, and because they look like little beans, so that's what I call them. What you're going to do is yarn over, insert your hook, yarn into the loop, yarn over, and pull up the loop. And you're going to do that for a total of 3 times. So that was 1, 2, 3. So now you're going to 2, 3, 4, yarn over, and then pull through all 7 loops on your hook. Okay, so now you have one little like bean stitch, and then you're gonna chain 2. Now your chain 2 is gonna separate these corners. So this is like half of the first corner, and now we're gonna work an entire corner. So for that, we're gonna bean stitch, and then chain 3, and then bean stitch. So remember, yarn over, insert into the loop, yarn over, and pull up a loop, and do that 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And then you're going to yarn over and pull through all of those loops. And then you're going to chain 1, 2, 3, because this is going to be your corner. Excuse me. My allergies are acting up because spring is starting. Okay. And then you are going to finish this corner by doing another bean stitch. So 3, and then yarn over and pull through all 7 loops on your hook. Okay, so now this is going to be like your corner space right here, and then we're going to chain 2, and we're going to do another corner bean stitch. 1, 2, 3, yarn over and pull through all of the loops on your hook, and then we're going to chain 3 since this is the corner, and do another bean stitch. 1, 2, 3, yarn over and pull through all of those. Okay, so now we got 2 corners. We're going to chain 2 to separate and go on to the next corner. So do another bean stitch. 1, 2, 3, yarn over and pull through all of those 7 loops, then chain 3 because this is the next corner, and do another bean stitch. 1, 2, 3, yarn over, pull through all of those. Okay, and there you got your third corner. Now we're going to chain 2, and remember we did half of the first corner over here already, so we're only going to do the other half of it. So we're only going to do 1 bean stitch. 1, 2, and 3. And now we usually chain 3 for our corner, but we're only going to chain 2. And then we're going to join, instead of joining with a slip stitch, we're going to join with a half double crochet. So find the top of your bean stitch and half double crochet into it. This will set you up to work the next round being inside of that corner already. So that's your first round. You can pull that tail and tighten it up a little bit, and it should look like this. Okay, so we're going to do 3 rounds of these bean stitches, and then we're going to move on to something else to change it up a little bit because I love texture. So 3 rounds of these. So we're in the corner already, so we're going to chain 1 and then do our bean stitch, which is yarning over, inserting, yarning over, pulling up a loop 3 times. So you have 7 loops on your hook, okay? So 1, 2, and 3, and then pull through all 7. Now, your next corner is over here. So we're going to chain 2, only 2 this time, and then in the chain 2 space, we're going to work a bean stitch. 1, 2, 3. Yarn over and pull through all of those loops. And then you're going to chain 2 because you're going to go to the next corner. You only chain 3 in the corner, okay? So now we're going to do a corner bean stitch, which is a bean stitch, chain 3, and a bean stitch in this chain 3 space. So 1, 2, 3, yarn over and pull through all 7 loops, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then do another bean stitch in this chain 3 space. So 1, 2, 3. All right, so that's your corner. And then you go to the next chain 2 space over here, so you chain 2 to get to it. And then you do a bean stitch. Chain 2, and then do a corner bean stitch here. Which is a bean stitch, chain 3, and a bean stitch. See, bean stitch, chain 3, and then another bean stitch. Perfect. Now we're going to chain 2, work a bean stitch into the next chain 2 space. Oh, you'll find it. There it is. 1, 2, and 3. Yarn over and pull through all 7 loops, chain 2, and then work a corner bean stitch here, which is a bean stitch, and then a chain 3, and then a bean stitch. going to chain 2 to get over to the next chain 2 space over here, and we're going to put a bean stitch. And then we're going to chain 2, and then we already worked half of our corner bean stitch here, so we're only going to work the other half, which is 1 bean stitch. And then we're instead of chaining 3, because we're at the end corner, we're only going to chain 2, and then we're going to join with a half double crochet to the top of the first bean stitch of the round. Again, because that sets us up to work right into the corner. We don't have to slip stitch it or anything. So this is what the end of round 2 looks like. And then round 3 is exactly the same, where you're going to work your half of your corner bean stitch here, a bean stitch in the next chain 2, a bean stitch in the next chain 2. When you get to your chain 3, your corner, you're going to work another corner bean stitch here, which is a bean stitch, a chain 3, and a bean stitch. In the chain 2 spaces, you're going to work just single bean stitches separated by chain 2s, remember. And then in the next corner, corner bean stitch, which is a bean stitch, chain 3, bean stitch, and then you're going to chain 2, and then you're going to bean stitch, and then you're going to chain 2, and then bean stitch, and then chain 2, and then corner. See, you get it? So work round 3, and then I'll come back and show you how to move on to the next part, okay? So I just worked round 3, and you should have 2. So I'm going to show you the next 3 rounds. So for the next round, we're just going to do a round of solid double crochets. So what you're going to do is you're just going to chain 3. This is going to count as your first double crochet. And then into the next bean stitch, you're going to work a double. So double crochet in there. This is just a round of solid doubles. So in the chain 2 space, you're going to work 2 double crochets. And then in the next bean stitch, you're going to work a double crochet. And then in the chain 2 space, you're going to work 2 doubles. And then in the next bean stitch, you're going to work a double crochet. And then in the chain 2 space, you're going to work 2 double crochets. And then in the bean stitch, you're going to work a double crochet. And now you should be up to your chain 3 space, your corner. And what you're going to do in there is you're just going to double crochet and then chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then put another double crochet in there. And then basically that's what you do all the way around. You'll crochet into the next bean stitch and put 2 double crochets in the next chain 2, double crochet in the next bean stitch, 2 double crochets in the next chain 2 space, double crochet in the next bean stitch, 2 double crochets in the next chain 2 space, double crochet in the next bean stitch, and then we're up to the corner where we're going to put a double crochet, a chain 3, and a double crochet. And then double crochet in the next bean stitch, 2 double crochets in the chain 2 space. Okay, so you guys can get that. Just keep doing that all the way around. I'll show you how I finish the corner, which is basically the same as before, but I'll come back and show you how I work the corner. So just finish going around, okay? I'll be back. I made it all the way around, and at my last corner I have my chain 3 right here. So we're just gonna double crochet in here to finish up our corner. Put a double crochet in there, and then instead of chaining 3 for our corner, we're gonna chain 2 and then join with a half double crochet to the top of this chain 3, which is our first double. So just join with a half double crochet to there, and then we'll be ready to move on to the next round. And that's what it looks like up until round 4. Okay, so for round 5, it's basically the same as the last round, except I work this round in the back loop only. So you're going to chain 3 to start off, and this is your first double crochet. And then we're just going to work in the back loop only of every double crochet across up to the corner space. So double crochet and the back loop only of every double crochet across. It's looking so beautiful. I love this blanket. So just keep continuing to double crochet in the back loop only of every stitch across, just like that, until you get to the chain 3 space. Okay, I'm at the chain 3 space now, and I'm gonna just, like last time, just double crochet in there, chain 3, and then double crochet in the same space. So that's our corner. And then we are going to double crochet in the back loop only of every stitch across, and then double crochet, chain 3, double crochet in the corner, double crochet in the back loop only of every stitch across, double crochet, chain 3, double crochet in the corner, back loop only of every stitch across, and that'll bring you up to your last corner, where you're going to double crochet, chain 2 instead of a 3, and then join with a half double crochet to the top of this chain 3. So do that, and I will meet you back here to work the next round. So it's getting pretty big. We just finished round 5, now we're on to round 6. For this round, I do V-stitches. So what you're gonna do to begin is you're gonna chain 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. That counts as a double crochet and a chain 1. And then you're gonna double crochet in the same space. So a V-stitch is a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. So that's what that is. And then we're gonna skip 2. So skip 1, 2, and then work a V-stitch into the next stitch. So double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, all in the same stitch. Skip 2, V-stitch. So double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, all in the same stitch. Skip 2, and then V-stitch, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, skip 2, and then V-stitch, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, and then skip 2, and then you'll be up to your corner space. So you're going to V-stitch in the corner space, so double crochet, chain 1, and then double crochet. And then we're only going to chain 2 here, chain 2, and then work another V-stitch in the corner. So double crochet, chain 1, and then double crochet. So that's what your corner looks like. You'll have 2 V-stitches there, separated by a chain 2. And then you're going to skip 2, and then V-stitch. Skip 2, and then V-stitch. Skip 2, and then V-stitch. Skip 2, V-stitch, skip 2. You'll be up to the corner where you're going to V-stitch, chain 2, V-stitch. And you're going to repeat that all the way around, and I'll show you. So I'm up to the corner. We are going to skip these last 2 and then work a V-stitch into this corner space. So double crochet, chain 1, and then double crochet in the same space. And then we chained 2 before in between these 2 V-stitches, so we're only going to chain 1, and then we're going to join with a half double crochet to the 3rd chain of this beginning chain 4. So locate the 3rd chain and then half double crochet into it. And then you're ready to move on to the next round. The next round is going to be bean stitches. So we're going to do exactly as we did before. We're going to bean stitch. I'll show you this round, and then you'll be able to follow the repeats. So chain 1, which will bring you up, and then you're going to bean stitch, which is yarn over, insert your hook into the stitch, yarn over, and pull up a loop, and you do that 3 times. So that was 1, 2, and 3. And you're going to yarn over and pull through all 7 loops, and then you're going to chain 2, and then you're going to work into the V-stitch, and you're going to put a bean stitch into it, which is 1, 2, and 3, and then you're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and then you're going to work into the next V-stitch in that chain 1 space. You're going to put another bean, 1, 2, and 3, yarn over, pull through all the loops on your hook, chain 2, and then in the V-stitch you're going to put another bean stitch, and you're going to repeat this all the way around. Chain 2, bean stitch in the next V-stitch, chain 2, bean stitch in the next V-stitch, chain 2, bean stitch in the next V-stitch, chain 2, and we are up to the corner because you can see this is the V-stitch and this is a V-stitch, and here's your chain 2. So we're going to put a bean stitch in there. And then we are going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3, and put another bean stitch in that same corner. So that's what's going to go on all the way around. And in your corners, you're going to put a bean stitch, chain 3, bean stitch, and then chain 2. And inside of every V-stitch, you're going to work a bean stitch. So chain 2, bean stitch, 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 chain 2, bean stitch. And you're at the corner, and you're going to work a bean stitch, chain 3, bean stitch, and then chain 2, and then work into the V-stitch and put a bean. Okay? So you're going to do that all the way around, and you'll join the same way as you did before. When you get here, you'll put a bean stitch into this beginning corner, and then instead of chaining 3, you're going to chain 2, and then join with a half double crochet to the top of this bean stitch. So that's exactly how this center part of the blanket is worked. And then what you're going to do is This one had 1, 2, 3 bean stitches, 3 rounds of them. So you're going to repeat that again. You have 1, and then you're going to work 1, 2, 3 rounds of bean stitches, and then you're going to work another round of solid double crochets and another round of back loop double crochets, and then another round of V stitches, and you're going to continue that process until you have 4 rounds. You can see 4 rounds of this, the solid double crochets, right? And the V stitches and everything, like 4. And then you'll repeat the bean stitch round rounds one more time, like 3 rounds of it. So you'll have 5 groups of bean stitch rounds, if that makes sense. You just have 5 groups, so just keep repeating and keep going out and doing it till you have 1, 2 groups of bean stitches, and then 3 groups, 4 groups, 5 groups. Then once you have 5 groups of bean stitches, you'll stop and we'll do the border, the outer border with our second color. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. I'll show you some pictures, so that'll definitely help you see what I'm talking about. You'll clearly be able to see the bean stitch rounds and the more solid rounds, and what I'm talking about when I say there'll be 5. You can count them. They're easy to count by just looking at the picture. So if you guys want, you can totally start. Like I said, you're gonna need about 600 yards of worsted weight for the center part, and I calculated about 2,100 yards total. So then you're gonna need about 1,500 yards of another color for the outside. I bought 6 balls of Soft and Sleek for the outside, and that's what I had. So, but it doesn't matter. You can just like, it's a blanket, so this blanket you can like extend how many you want, but just always end with bean stitch rounds, and then you can just repeat however many times you want. If you want to keep going and make it like extra big, or like do the border and keep continuing with the outer border and make that extra big, you can do it that way. But just remember, this blanket is going to be square, so it's not like going to be like a bed blanket. It's more like a throw blanket instead of like being the right dimensions to fit a certain size bed. So it's going to be square all over. So I hope you enjoyed this, and like I said, if you have any questions, feel free to message me, DM me, get at me. All right, bye guys.